Hello and welcome to another episode of Visceral Musings. My name is Cody Reed, and if you're keeping track, you know that I was gone for a whole week. Well, guess what, bitches? I'm back and better than ever. Or maybe, I don't know yet. My guest today is my former bandmate, the primary vocalist, and the singer of the band, Fill the Band, which now that I hear that back is kind of a mouthful. We talked about having families, we talked about making music, but best of all, we talked about the movie Dumb and Dumber, which, as he puts it, is the greatest movie ever made. Is that true? I don't fucking know. You might have to stick around and hear what I have to say about it. It was great to sit and catch up. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I do apologize that I missed an upload, but I'm doing my best to make sure that never ever happens again. So without further ado, I present to you guys Season 1, Episode 3 of Visceral Musings. Better late than never.
Yeah, I don't know. That John Denver's full of shit, man. Like you almost get to see a little booty.
Suck me sideways.
How they know I got gas? Pretty bird. Can you say pretty bird?
All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Visceral Musings. My name is Cody Reed, and today I'm joined by my friend, my former bandmate, and an all-around great guy, Ian Dupeire. How you doing, Ian?
I'm doing good, Cody. How about you, brother?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. I just got back from tour. This is, today is, right now, I think it's Monday, right? It's Monday, yeah.
It is.
So I just got back on last little bit before, I don't know, fucking Wednesday night maybe.
How was it?
It was long. It was a lot of driving because we drove two Priuses and we drove I think 35 hours total.
Jeez.
Over 8 days.
How many miles? 8 days. How many miles?
Oh shit! I don't even know. I'll have to break that down. I probably need another oil change.
Say probably a couple thousand miles, huh?
Yeah. All right. My first question that I like to ask every single guest: do you piss in the shower?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It saves water, right?
I guess I don't know. I've been just kind of collecting data on that.
It's funny you asked because I actually listened to. I haven't finished it completely, but the podcast of you and Joe.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. It made me think about it because I was like, yeah, I do it because it saves water. But realistically, every time I piss in the shower, I think about how I'm sitting there pissing, doing nothing. So I'm really just wasting probably just as much water had I just pissed in the toilet.
Yeah, if you just flushed it, it would have been, I don't know. I think everybody has usually people are like, yeah, you're already there. Why not? All right, well, that works. Yeah. My first real question for every single interview is, who are you and what do you do?
I am Ian Dupeire. I'm a painter. I guess I run a painting company. I've been doing that for a long ass time. I play music. That's probably my main hobby. I played in a few different bands and currently play in a couple bands. And I'm also a husband and a father.
You got me into White Claw and aluminum koozies. I don't really have much of a question
Cheers.
for that. Yeah, there you go.
Cheers to that.
I have 3 aluminum koozies now because of you and Brittany.
I think I might have one of yours unless we ever give it back. They're freaking handy, huh?
Yeah, they are.
Way better than a standard koozie.
So much better. So you started off playing drums in bands like Alaska and Me and Warranty before transitioning to being a frontman in Western Figures and then later was Fill the Band. Why did it take so long for you to come to your own as an attention whore?
I think it was getting the balls. Honestly, I've dreamed of having my own band. After being in bands, playing drums, having bands fail, never work out. You kind of want to be in charge more. I want to say in 2010, 2011-ish, I was playing drums for a band, and I remember telling Justin, who plays bass for us as well, I want to do my own thing. I'm tired of relying on other people. I'm tired of everything falling through. So I think around that time is when I started doing it, but I never really had the balls to just like go full force, start playing guitar, seriously standing up, being a front man, getting a band together. I think it was just kind of a pipe dream that I really wanted to do, but never just went full force. And when Phil started in 2021, I think that was when I finally was able to have enough of a base musically to write music. I'd written some songs. I'd gotten people together, you, Dylan, and Tony, to come play the songs that I'd written. And honestly, I wish I'd done that 10 years sooner, or 15 years ago. I wish I just went for it, started playing gigs, started putting out music and, things you always dream of, but you never just take the time to do.
That gives me two things, because there's two things that I've always admired about you. And one is when you say you're going to do something, it's going to get fucking done. I know that.
Absolutely.
I know that about you. And two is that you don't give up.
Unless it's painting my own house. Absolutely.
When you transitioned to being like a front man versus being a drummer after being a drummer for so long, what was it like for you? And I'm genuinely interested in this, because you went from being somebody behind the drum kit for so long to like relinquish that control and kind of let somebody else have control over the tempo and the backbeat of the song. What was it like for you to be that guy instead of the guy who gets to hide in the back?
It was hard. I thought it was hard being behind the kit because you're focusing on being the rhythm, being the timing, keeping everything together, but also performing. So I thought, playing guitar sounds actually pretty easy, which really guitar isn't the hard part. Being up there up front, singing, trying to perform while also connecting with the audience, way tougher than sitting back playing drums. I actually enjoy now when I can just focus on drums versus all the interaction that goes on.
You don't really take into account a lot of the time when you're playing in somebody else's band and like not fronting it, when you're there's this moment in time where like if you're not staying engaged with the audience, they're just fucking staring at you, like waiting for you to do something. And then you have to also remember like, oh shit, yeah, I'm supposed to be entertaining these people. Like I'm a spectacle right now. It's hard. Yeah. It's fucking difficult.
And I feel like the first couple years of playing and singing and standing up front, wasn't even something that really crossed my mind. I was really just trying to get through the songs and not screw up too much. But now, we're on I think a third year as a band. That's something I try to focus on more, not just the entertainment, but actually engaging with the crowd. Because unless you make that connection, whether it's just a joke or a couple words or just playing your songs without saying anything, that's the tough part. But once you do, you can't explain the feeling of a crowd that you connected with.
Yeah. I remember the first time that we ever played a show that you were visibly nervous at. We were in Charles Ellsworth, his family's backyard.
Yeah.
And you were like,
that was our first show.
Brittany was pregnant at the time and not everybody knew it.
Yep.
So you were freaking the fuck out for like multiple reasons. And you were like, dude, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, just relax. It's like, it's all your fucking friends, man. just hang out.
I remember we had all these plans. Me and Tony would joke about how we had all these plans to rock out and we were going to put on a show. And then as soon as the song started, we were like just stick men that just couldn't move. We just literally more focused on just getting through the songs than jumping around and rocking out, which eventually comes more naturally.
You guys, I remember because most of the time when we did a Phil show, Negative 32 and Phil played a lot. So I would get through the first half of it. And then depending on who went first, my voice was usually shot for the second one.
Yeah, the double headers are hard, especially because you were singing harmonies and yelling. You weren't just
singing and I'm trying to do my little hops or whatever. Which some people comment on that. I fucked my back up, so I have to like dial it back on like trying to be engaged now. You and your wife Brittany, you are two of the coolest and most supportive people I've ever met. And so what I mean by that is like you guys go to shows. You buy the merch, you listen to the music, you scream the words. What I really respect about you and Brittany is that you'll support small bands and treat them like they're huge. And so my question is, why do you think that is so important, that support is so important?
Oh, yeah, it's half of it being that, the connection between the musicians, but the other half, I I don't know, it's more intimate, you know. Big shows are fun. It's cool going and seeing people you looked up to for years or your whole life. But being able to be in a 50-person crowd or 20 people, 100 people, whatever it is, I feel like is a whole different feeling than sitting, you know, back and watching a production that's been done 1,000 times before. And then, you know, even though that's probably, you know, the tightest you're ever going to see a show is seeing a professional band, but seeing bands on our level, especially when they're kicking ass, it's just the coolest thing ever. You know, it's what we all dream of doing. So seeing your friends and other bands and people you meet do it, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, I remember I went to that Blink show, when Blink was on tour last year. I went and saw them in Minnesota, and they were, I mean, if you're going to see Blink 182, that's kind of how you have to see them now, because they only do those big arena shows. They don't do small shows. But I saw Turnstile, and it was so fucking weird seeing Turnstile in an arena. Because I was like, like I'm in a seat watching a hardcore band. It was fucking weird. That's kind of how I felt. I watched the Distillers open for Misfits in an arena once. And I was like, I love these bands, but it's also like fucking weird to be, because I've seen Alkaline Trio in like a theater. Like that, they're a big band, but like I agree with what you're saying. There's a huge degree of intimacy that you get from watching a band in like a small theater or even a big theater that you lose when you watch it on like some big elaborate stage production. It's not always as fun.
No, and it's cool too. I mean, actually, when you see the Alkaline Trio, I just saw them the last time they came through at the Van Buren, which I'd never seen. You know, it was not a huge venue, but pretty decent sized, similar to the Marquee, I guess. But seeing them, last time I saw them was in 2009 or 10 with Cursive, which was a very different band, you know, for them genre-wise. But it was a good show. I didn't feel like any connection with the artist or anything like that. It was a good performance. Seeing this last time, you know, we're a lot more rowdy, I guess. Everyone likes to push their way to the front now. We like to get up towards the pit. You know, Tony and Dylan like to be as close as they can to the front. We pushed our way up and saw the whole show from, you know, five to 10 people back. At one point, I was like 2 people back from Maskiba, and it was just so cool. Back to the, you know, the intimacy of it. It was just so cool to be there and get that energy. You know, it was his birthday too, of course, and we all yelled "Happy Birthday" at some point. And to see him look over and say, "There's nothing I'd rather be fucking doing than playing music right now for you guys," it was so cool. And that's when I made that connection. And those are the shows that you dream to see. That's why you keep going. That's why you buy the merch. It's why you keep doing it.
Back when I started playing music too, like you guys came to my shitty little shows too. Show up.
They weren't shitty. They were just little.
They were little, and you'd show up wearing these like bootleg Negative 32 shirts that I was trying to sell. That stuck with me. That really did. You have a handful of tattoos, speaking of which, one of them is the very first Negative 32 tattoo that anybody has been able to get on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm proud to own that too. I didn't even do that until I sent you the picture and you told me, and I'm proud of that. I should actually get your signature next to it and say number 1, huh?
Oh fuck. Yeah, that would be pretty sick.
One of.
Somebody did it though, right? Like somebody that you knew.
Yeah, it was one of my friends. My friend Sean has kind of been messing around with a tattoo gun and trying to screw around. He said, "Hey, let me do some, practice on you." I said, "Yeah, my legs got plenty of room." So that was the first one he did on me. We got a lot more to go, but yeah, it was a nice addition to my band leg.
Yeah, you have a band leg, and then you have your sleeve. I always think of it as the White Claw sleeve because you have the White Claw.
The traditional sleeve.
Yeah, the traditional sleeve.
Yeah.
What do you think is your worst tattoo?
My worst tattoo is 100% my old band tattoo, actually, Alaska and Me. I don't know if you probably can't see it in the video, but it's just a silhouette from our album, I Will Die in the West. And it's actually a free tattoo. They were doing it at a shop. You came in, hung out, and you can get a free $20 tattoo or whatever. So it was a horrible tattoo. The color's not even there anymore. It was orange and black. Now it's just like a little black blob on my bicep, but I won't cover it up because it's a memory. So I just live with it, and work around it.
I didn't have this written down. I just remembered it. The first time that I ever met you, I was 17, and I was still in high school, and we heard about Warranty playing a show in old Board and Ranch House, basically across the street from you, in the band room. So
yeah.
And I only knew Ben at the time. So then we snuck one of our friends out of her house She was a sophomore in high school. And we all loaded up in my beat up little Buick Regal and then drove to your guys' house and went and like watched your guys. I forgot. That's so fucking crazy. I forgot
Which
about
was probably a long ass drive for the time too. You know, it's 20, 30 minutes out there.
Yeah, we showed up after busting her out of, and then we did it again. So you guys, it was you, Gorky, and some other band was playing at, it was like a touring band, played at the Lion's Den. I think it's just the Den now. And so we also snuck into that one. We snuck the same friend out, and we go in there, and like I think I might have been 18 at the time, so we weren't supposed to be in the bar, but we just kind of kept like sneaking around so that no one would catch us. And our friend that we snuck out, or the condition was like, my mom won't be home for the next like 7 or 8 hours or something like that. So if we do it, you just have to have me home by like 2:00 in the morning. And so we're like, word. And then her fucking mom went to go see your guys' show at the bar. And so we snuck into the bar that her fucking mom was at. And her mom was so drunk that she was like, oh, hey guys, and just hung out with us for the rest of the night.
That's when you pulled the old, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. I remember that one.
That's cool. Was that the Den? I've only played there twice, so that would have been...
It was Warranty.
Probably around 10 years ago.
Yeah. 10 years ago now. Something like that.
Crazy. That's when you mentioned that house show, which was our house. That was when it was the party house. We were all in our early 20s, and that's when it was fun to just have a big old freaking kegger in your house and play a show. We had a stage in our back.
Yeah, that band room was fucking sick.
Makes you practice a lot when you live with most of your band.
Yeah. You record most of the Phil stuff. You first started off with Phil recording it yourself, and then you started recording with Corey Spots, who is the fucking man. First off,
yeah.
What drew you into Corey Spots, and why do you think he works so well with Phil?
The first time I met Corey Spots was back in 2011. I want to say I was playing drums for a band called The Secrets We Keep. Shout out to all those dudes if they're around. But we went and recorded a single track with them. I remember our manager ended up at the time, Garrett, ended up just meeting him, said, let's go record this dude. Went and met him like in a little industrial park, same place he's at now, when we record. And just great experience. I was actually playing drums on that single, and it turned out awesome. I remember he was easy to work with. So randomly, over 10 years later, we were looking to take Phil to the studio, and he was my first thought, was Corey. Gosh, I remember that dude being really cool, really good. I wonder if he's still recording. Looked him up and hit him up, and we recorded. What did we record? We recorded a single. I think it was Lying to Myself.
Lying to Myself.
And instantly was just like, yeah, this is the dude. He's easy to work with, especially being a beginner band like us. We can all play music, but none of us are amazing musicians. You, of course, are. But, it's just, he's somebody easy to work with.
No, he's the shit, yeah. He gets the best takes out of you because he's such a good...
He pushes you for sure.
Yeah, and he's a good coach. There's people who push you, and then there's people who can push you but also be like a good coach. And he's just the best at it. I don't know. I don't think I would have ever recorded or written some of the things. He changed the way that I write songs when I think of things.
That's
now.
The thing is he actually cares about the music. Whereas I've recorded with people before. I've recorded in probably close to a dozen studios, and there's guys that are just, do you like that? Click. Do you like that? Click. Like they don't really care as long as you're happy. That's all they want. But Corey actually listens to it, without going overboard and saying, you should do this, you should do that. He just, you should try this, what if you did this? What if you did that? And he actually works as a producer as well, not just, an engineer. Yeah. And I like what he brings to the table. So it's hard to really want to go anywhere else. Obviously, I would like to go to a couple other studios, but it's just hard when you're comfortable with somebody.
And expensive.
Yeah. When you're spending thousands on... especially if you're recording an album, we only usually record a couple songs at a time. But it gets expensive. So if you find somebody you work quick with easily, it's better than fighting with somebody the whole time. I've worked with difficult people too, and when you're spending good money, you want to just be in, be out, and be happy. Yeah,
I forgot. I wrote it down too, and I skipped over it. There's the tattoo story that I was talking about. You also have a brand. Can you tell us?
Yes.
Can you tell us the story behind the brand?
Well, the first words would be Fireball. We were at a wedding, as you remember. We were playing a show for a wedding down in Tonto Basin by Roosevelt Lake.
Right, and I was moving, so I couldn't go to the party. I only made it to the wedding. Yeah.
So you missed it all, but you
Yeah.
didn't miss much. Had a few shots of Fireball. Somebody actually, the whole thing started. It was a friend made a brand for Dylan, or for us. He gave it to Dylan, and it was like, "Hey, I made this really cool Fill the brand. Fill the brand, we call it. It's got a PTB on it." So my first thought was, I got to be the first person that has that on me. Nobody can do that before me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was going to fight you for it. They're like, "Oh, okay."
No,
Yeah.
I thought people were going to, but no, yeah, Dylan, I had to beg him to help brand me. But a few shots of Fireball and that liquid courage got me ready. We stuck it on my leg, and after heating it up on the stove, it worked pretty well.
It took two
Minus
tries,
almost
didn't it?
getting infected. It took 2 tries, but the second one really stuck.
All right, I got one last question for you on this first half of it. And so I know it's going to be a little bit more of a sadder story than it would have been had I asked you maybe a year ago. But can you tell us the story of how Phil the band came to be, and also the meaning behind naming the band Phil? Because I've always loved that the name of the band, like, bands have a name. Like there's Green Day, there's The Offspring, but not very many bands have an actual first name. And Phil kind of shatters the mold on that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
all right. Anyway, yeah, you got me.
The name actually started, I was actually connected with an old friend from high school. My first band I ever played in was Led by the Flame. Our guitarist, Mike, we actually, we still talk every once in a while, but we connected musically right before Phil started. We started playing some songs, writing stuff, and we were trying to figure a project. And he had made the assumption, man, that'd be cool to have a name as, a band. And I was like, yeah, like Bob or Phil or something. And thinking, because my dog was Phil at the time, that's why I suggested it. And he's like, yeah, Phil's actually awesome. And we ended up starting with that. And it didn't really become much of a project. I ended up taking, meeting a couple guys in the area, or a couple of my friends, making a band, because that was my dream. He had more of, just wanted to make a project. I kind of want to start a band. So I took the name Phil. Phil was originally the band name, just straight Phil. But when I started putting music up and started writing the first album, EP we released, I started realizing there's like 7,200 freaking Phils out there. So I narrowed it down to Phil the Band, which was already the URL, I think, for our Instagram or something. But Phil was my dog's name, our wiener dog, who unfortunately we had to put him down a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But that's where the name came. The myth, the legend, the dog, the myth.
How did you put the band together?
It was random, actually. I think I wrote maybe 2 or 3 songs, only a couple songs, when I really started wanting Phil to become a band. I want to say Charles Ellsworth was actually touring through, playing at the truck stop, which isn't around anymore. He was playing there, and you were the first person I talked to. I think you, and I talked to Dylan and Tony, my other buddies, maybe a couple days before or a couple days after. I can't remember, but I remember talking to you and being like, hey, I got some songs if you want to play bass on them. And then Tony and Dylan as well. I was like, hey, Dylan, you want to come try drums? Tony, like me and Tony had tried jamming a couple times, and it just kind of naturally happened. It was, a bunch of friends that I knew played music, and being in a small town up here in Sholo, you guys were all I had. That's all I had to pick from.
The first time that I ever played anything with Tony and Dylan, it's actually documented, because that first music video that we did, everything was recorded separately, because I came in and did my bass tracks in your chicken coop, like, I don't know, a couple weeks before we did that Before You Die music video. I had never really even been around Tony and Dylan, and then I showed up and they're like, well, let's pretend like we were a band, because like COVID had been shut down fucking everything. We did everything in your house for that show, quote unquote, which we
were scared to do anyways.
Yeah, it was fucking sick though. Like that was my first experience ever setting up since COVID shut everything down. That was like the first show that I played, which was cool. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight about like Phil, the band starting, is when I was growing up, there's an age gap between us. So I heard about Alaska and Me kind of at the tail end of it. And I heard about like Warranty, and I met you guys after, because Ben dated my cousin. And like, that's how I figured out about you guys. And so going back and listening to the old Alaska and Me shit, it was like, you guys were like the dudes. Like you guys are the boys who almost made it. So you were like almost. Because yeah, it was big for a lot of people that still listen to that shit. And so I remember when I met you guys, I was like, I was intimidated because I'd never really considered myself a musician. I just kind of played songs and I taught myself how to play instruments. But then later on, whenever you approached me about like being a bassist for your project, I was really gung ho over it. And I was like, it humbled the shit out of me, because I was like, dude, Ian thinks that I'm good enough to play bass in his band.
I'd heard you since, I don't remember when you and Colton, I want to say you were maybe 16, 17.
Maybe.
I think around the time when you first came out and demoed at my house. One of you, I was driving, so probably around that age, but I remember meeting you guys and instantly. First thought was like Blink-182, it's one of my favorite bands, and I remember hearing you guys and be like, oh, dude, these guys listen to the same stuff I listen to. And then hearing you guys rip on the demos, we recorded, I forget, Tourists and a couple songs 10 years ago probably. And probably damn close 10 years ago, maybe a little less. But I just remember listening to you guys, especially because I listened to it hours and hours after you left. Just kept editing it and listening. I was like, gosh, these guys are really good. And I remember instantly, that was forever ago. And then I watched you guys play Negative 32 for years. And yeah, man, at that point, I was like, I got to get this dude. The bassist in town that I need.
I'm going to I'll leave this part of this interview with this. What is your favorite Phil song that's released?
Favorite Phil song that's released? It's tough. Favorite to listen to or favorite to play?
Both.
It would probably be between... Gosh, that's tough. It'd probably be between Lying to Myself, our first studio track we did, and The Wayside. I don't know why I always liked The Wayside. I thought it was kind of a chill song. Didn't do as good as I thought it would, but yeah, those are...
It's because
Lying to Myself, I think, has still been...
You're a slut for those intros, dude.
I know. Those long, unnecessary intros that Corey almost talked me out of.
Yeah. My favorite lyrics that you've ever written are the third verse of The Wayside.
That's I'm trying to think. I can't remember the words to it. I've got a fear inside of me.
That speaks of fear and devotion.
Yeah, it sees everything. Yeah, that was actually a really deep song, too. That was one... None of my songs were very serious. I think I had a couple, maybe one love song. A lot of them are just about life and death, really. They're all very kind of vague, but all of them are, I don't know, not very deep. And that was the first song I wrote that I felt was pretty deep and just about life and the struggle, The first words were, what are the first words? I've been feeling kind of low. It's been engraved in my head. I think it was kind of influenced by COVID for sure. And like all the depression stuff that came with all of that. It was just like, we're living in crazy times,
What a time to be alive. All right. Are you cool if I loop that song into the end of the episode?
For sure.
Cool.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, that takes us to the potty break. So. Hello and welcome to this episode's potty break. Are you anything like me? A technologically challenged adult prone to breaking things that you don't quite know how to fix? Whether that be a computer, a printer, a phone, a smart home device, or anything in between, then you need to get a hold of CyberCloud Tech Assistance. They are the only tech assistance company in Northern Arizona with a full 5-star Google review. Most of these tech companies, what they don't understand is a lot of us are balling on a budget. But when you need to get something done professionally and reliably, and best of all, affordably, Justin Caivano is the guy for you to go see. Support a small business and keep all the homies connected. CyberCloudTA.com is the website, or give them a call at 928-245-6700. All right, folks, let's get right back to this episode of Visceral Musings. All right, so the topic of today's episode is Dumb and Dumber. which is funny because when I hit you up to see if you wanted to do it, and I asked you like, what's a movie that you could ramble on? You said Dumb and Dumber is the best movie ever made.
It is, and I stand by that.
It narrowed it down for me so easily because I mean, I rewatched it to get ready for this, and I was laughing my fucking ass off at how one of the things that I really wanted to say about this movie was, again, I'm not a fucking movie reviewer. That's not the point of the podcast. The podcast is, why do you give such a shit about this movie? And so one of the things that I would say is, it's a comedy movie that has a really good fucking plot. And most comedy movies now, they're trying to be funny, but they're not always telling a story. Dumb and Dumber has such a good fucking plot to it.
And the humor is just timeless, though. Like,
yeah,
it was funny then. It's probably going to get funnier as time goes on, especially with the actors too. It was an all-star cast in there. But it just, dude, the more you watch it, the more you notice. But that's one of those movies I'll fall asleep to, like, every night. Like Superbad or Pineapple Express. It's just simple, dumb humor, but they have really good plots, really funny plots.
The "suck me sideways" line actually made me. I hadn't heard it in so long that when I heard it, it was actually funny again.
Suck me sideways, and that's been said so many times.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's a really freaking weird thing to say.
Or Jim Carrey is Lloyd Christmas with the fucking chipped tooth. Every time he smiles, it makes me laugh. It's like one of those just dumb things where I laugh like I'm a little kid again. Did
you ever have a friend chip their tooth?
Have what?
Up? A friend like chipped their tooth?
Yeah.
Growing up? There's always the joke too, but I had like one friend in high school. He was a wrestler. I think he chipped his tooth like right on the side or like right down the middle. And that's all I could think for a couple days before I got it fixed was, you're freaking Lloyd Christmas, dude. Like, they can't even talk to you and keep a straight face.
When I was like 15, one of our friends let another one of our friends punch him in the face after we were drinking at my old friend's apartment. Where I was like 16, this kid was like maybe 15 or maybe even like 14. I don't know. We were too young to be fucking around. And he let this one kid, I can say it, his name's
Redacted. Redacted.
They punched our friend
Redacted
in the fucking face and broke his tooth. And I thought the same fucking thing. It's like Jim Carrey with a broken tooth.
You can't look him in the eyes and be serious.
So one of the things that I liked about this movie was there's a constant, like, it's like a misdirection. It's constantly setting you up for like an expectation and then like kind of yanking the rug out from under you. So like one of the first ones is like, so he takes the briefcase from the airport and then they end up bailing out of the apartment because they think the gas company's there. So fucking funny. It's
how they
dumb,
know
but
it's
it's
the
fucking
gas
hilarious.
Man. Or it says the gas man.
Yeah.
How they know I got gas.
Yeah, I wrote that one down too. Or he's like, pull over. He's like, no, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Which that dude too, the guy that played the cop, what was he from? Was it Rocket Man or one of those movies?
He's in.
I forget
yeah,
the
he's in a
actor's
bunch.
name.
He's in Something About Mary.
He's in a bunch of good movies, but that is his like funniest, best, like even though it's like a 1 minute scene, is the funniest part.
Yeah, Harlan Williams. Oh, the click after he drinks the beer.
Get the hell out of here.
The part where he the restaurant fight scene where he does like the kung fu moves and shit where he yanks the chef's heart out of his chest.
It's so ridiculous.
So that guy who played the chef was an actual like stunt coordinator, and he had Jim Carrey do like he comes out and he does all of his moves where he's getting ready to fight him, and he improvised every single one of them. So it took him forever to get the thing done because he came out and every other person had all their moves choreographed so that they could do like he does the fucking like the salsa dancing and shit. It's all improvised, and it took him forever to get it done because he kept making up new shit and making everybody on set laugh.
It's so ridiculous. Everything though, like all the jokes where he's like lighting his farts and like telling the stories, like it's just.
And they're all laughing.
His dreams.
the dream. He gets out and gets the fucking magazine. He's trying to buy a porn magazine with the money, the last of their money, and the name of it is The Rhode Island Slut.
Just get the bare essentials, Lloyd.
And the old lady takes all of his money.
I got robbed by robbed by an old lady in a motorized cart.
That part where they sell the bird to the blind kid.
Yeah.
I laughed my fucking ass off when the guy who has gas comes in and he kills the bird, he yanks his head off, and then he tells him that his bird died, and he's like, his head fell off, and he's like, yeah, he was pretty old.
I've had it with this dump.
Oh, so fucking funny.
What does it say? It's probably one of the most quotable movies. We got no food. Our pets' heads are falling off.
That part where where Jim Carrey goes on his rant about not wanting to be a nobody anymore, and he starts crying.
Yeah.
I got actually sad watching that.
Dude, yeah. Because we've all been there, brother.
Yeah.
It's that middle class struggle.
Right. So I have to ask, though.
What's funny is think how young he was there. How old do you think Jim Carrey was?
Oh.
I would think his mid-20s, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Definitely not in his 30s yet. Maybe he was. I don't know.
Same with Jeff Daniels. Probably was early 30s, maybe.
Jeff Daniels is a underrated actor. He's in a bunch of awesome movies like Arachnophobia and Arachnophobia. I
have to ask when we do things like this. So the point of the podcast is not to be over. I mean, obviously, if you like things, you're going to criticize them or whatever. But the point of it is not so much to pick it apart, but it's more to just kind of analyze it and talk about why. So when you get down to it on an emotional level, when you watch Dumb and Dumber, why is this movie so important to you? If we were to peel back the flesh that is the manly bearded painter that is Ian Dupeire, what makes you think that this is the best movie ever made?
Probably just the unrealisticness of everything. I mean, it's not totally unrealistic, but it's simple, dumb humor that's could almost be real life, but it's something you would have in a dream. It's at the same time the funniest. It's like Superbad. Why is Superbad and Pineapple Express so funny? Because it's something you can almost relate to, but it's totally ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. It would never happen, but it'd be really funny if it did.
Yeah. And it also
be a lot cooler if it did.
It makes me think of having a bro that you're on a road trip with too.
Yeah. Like a stepbrother.
Right.
And stepbrothers.
Yeah. Cause he's even when he gets all pissed off over so then Harry leaves and he goes and sells the van to some kid and they trade Even Steven for the moped. And he's like, just when I thought that you couldn't get dumber, you do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Yeah. I always wanted to have a homie like that.
And once you guys get in your big fight, and you get over it a couple hours or days later, he comes pulling up on his little gas saver, get 8 miles a gallon on this hog.
And the next thing you know, you're pissing on each other's backs again.
Yep.
It's balanced. That's how it should
Heading
be.
to Aspen. I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes.
So Alaska and Me, the old band that we were talking about, that's a John Denver song, right?
Yeah. It actually is a John Denver song. Here's to Alaska. Here's to the people. Here's the wild and free, or whatever it is. It says that here's Alaska and Me, and that's where Redacted, the singer, I believe, came up with the name.
Which is funny because there's a quote in the movie where he says, man, that John Denver is full of shit, man.
Like I said, it's the most quotable movie. And I've probably said, I don't know how many times somebody mentioned the Rockies. I think every time still when somebody mentions the Rockies, you got to say, I don't know, that John Denver's full of shit, man.
Aspen? California?
Talk a little place called Aspen, where the women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
When I watch movies like this, I almost feel like Dumb and Dumber is because the 90s, a lot of the shit that came out in the 90s are the things that got popular, especially in the mid 90s or the Nirvana kind of took over. It wasn't so much comedy. It was more like Total Recall or it was darker, edgier movies that were. I feel like they always had an industrial feel to them, and then I felt like Dumb and Dumber is its peak this style of comedy when it was on its way out. because there's not very many movies that I can think of from this time that are, well, first off, that have held up this well, but also have the same like emotional or like cultural impact that Dumb and Dumber has had.
No, and there are though, but I mean, every decade there's going to be a few, not as many as I feel like the '90s. I feel like the '90s had so many classics, because there's so many comedians too that were acting, like Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, Martin Short,
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, just funny freaking people. But yeah, I feel like there's a few nowadays. But what's funny now is, like you say, held up. You think of movies like The Hangover, and like I said, Pineapple Express, and all that stuff, and then you realize, oh my shit, dude, that's been like 15 years or something already, like over 10 years, and so it's not really that new anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I can't say I've had a lot of big comedies lately that I've been big into. My wife watches a couple, but
This is,
yeah, so it's just they're timeless.
yeah. And it's character comedy too. Like Lloyd Christmas. I don't know what the fuck, I can't think of Harry's last name off the top of my head. But when you have these characters that are like, they're so dumb that they're like, that it ends up, it's so dumb that it's not funny is like one way you could look at it, but it's also so dumb that it's not funny that it's funny again.
Yeah, and it's funny to anyone. It could be, somebody that I'm gonna try to be nice here, but just some fucking dumb redneck to some, someone that's too smart for their own good. It's still funny, no matter which way you dissect it. Like, it's simply funny, but it's also super clever and witty the way they thought of all the stupidity.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've learned from writing comedy too. Like, because I'll write jokes and I'll go do them at like an open mic or whatever. It's not that fucking easy. So when you think of it like, oh, this is dumb humor.
Oh, dude,
try it. Try writing one of these jokes and delivering it.
Props to you and your stand-up too, because freaking it's way harder to be funny than it is just to play music, whether it's funny or serious.
Yeah, you take dude. Once you don't have something in your hands, like I can't distract people by playing a bass because I'm up there like it's just me, and then you have to actually be funny. I think people discount like how actually difficult it is. Like when you have Jim Carrey, who's just kind of like riffing or improvising on a line. He's also not, He's not got an audience in front of him. He's doing it on camera, and then it gets shown to people, and then hopefully it lands with them. But I think that...
Well, and he was always he was super extreme.
Yeah.
Like when you watch his like comedy or in his movies too, like all the way back to, like The Mask, Ace Ventura, all of his like early, it was probably earlier ones, but movies, he was just so goofy. It was like over the top, ridiculous. But nobody else sounded and acted just like him, so it was the right time, right character, everything.
How old do you think you were the first time that you saw Dumb and Dumber?
It was before I moved up to the mountains, so I'd want to say 10 or younger, which is funny because, growing up in a pretty strict household, we weren't allowed to watch a lot of PG-13 movies unless mom was gone. Then we get to watch maybe a rated R movie or something. But that was a movie that wasn't really too dirty. I think there's a couple scenes we couldn't watch, but it wasn't like that raunchy, but it was really fun. Even then, when you're, 8, 9, 10 years old or whatever it was still hilarious. And I didn't understand half of the movie probably.
Do you ever have that thing where, because I get it a lot with certain movies, like Knocked Up, or I guess the Austin Powers movies, where like you watch them, and of course Star Wars or like those kinds of things that you watch when you're a kid, but you watch them and then like all of a sudden you're like you're back in your old living room or you're back in your old bedroom, and you can just like remember like when you would have to put the VHS tape in or something like that.
Oh yeah. I feel like especially like holiday movies, Christmas movies. Once you start watching Home Alone, you can picture 10 different times as a kid you were watching it.
It's funny to picture you being 10 years old trying to like, because you were on to something that you felt like you were pulling a fast one on your mom. Because
when what?
You could like this movie could like slide under your mom's radar, so you were still getting like your fill of like dirty jokes, but she just didn't catch it. Yeah. Maybe that's another that speaks to its credit about it being such like a dumb and approachable movie that you don't actually realize that it's actually kind of dirty and really clever.
Like you almost get to see a little booty.
Some of these were the jokes that I was telling at school the next day. Like after I watched this movie, I would watch it on TV and then go to school and start telling like the fucking, especially the bird with the head falling off. Like, yeah, he was pretty old.
Pretty bird. Can you say pretty bird?
All right, dude. Well, do you have any closing statements in defense? Well, not so much in defense of, but that just kind of talk about why Dumb and Dumber is such a special movie to you.
I think not only like what I mentioned before, I think it was timing too. You know, I watched it when I was a kid. It was, even though I didn't understand anything, it was hilarious. It was just funny. You know, Jim Carrey and was it Jeff Daniels?
Yeah.
But they were just hilarious as a kid. And then, you know, you fast forward 10 years, or not even 10 years, 5 years, tell them 15 years, and then you start realizing how funny it was, all this stuff. And then you know, become 20, and it's the jokes, you know, that the one joke I never understood is when he goes, they're talking about jobs, and you can't get this job, whatever. He's like, yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week. And I remember being like, I don't get it. And then you grow up and you're like, 40 hours a week, man. That's a lot.
So every single week, I like to have the guests do a top 3, whether it be, you know, movies, TV shows, bands, songs, whatever it is, whatever you're listening to. What are your top 3 things right now, and why should we give a shit about them?
Do you want me to list each one and elaborate, or just list them all 3?
You can do it
in order.
This is your episode. It's my show. It's your episode, dog. You do whatever you want.
Well, let's start with because I thought about my favorite things recently, and I'll not get too sappy. You know, obviously my family, my wife, my baby. But well, actually, she'd probably be number 1. We'll say my baby.
All right.
If I had to pick one thing that's changed my life the most over the last couple of years, it's going to be her. Like, it's been the most life-changing thing ever. It's freaking nuts, and I never thought you could love a little human so much until you see a little mini you.
Yeah.
It's just,
and before her, it was me for you. So
yeah,
I'll take a back seat on it. I like it.
That's what I do. You have to come handle her because she's about to turn 2, so she's like at the age she's having meltdowns.
Oh.
But also, I remember having this conversation with Corey about like when they think they can just like go jump off a freaking table, you know, and just face dive into the floor. Like they don't. There's no reasoning. It's just they're starting to understand everything, but everything's a meltdown.
You're gonna see too when there's certain friends. There's a reason they call you the e-instigator. That once you start seeing that in May, it's going to be chaos for you and hilarious for everyone else.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's already chaos. Being controlled by a little human that's a fraction of your size.
She's got a lot of personality, too, for a little kid, too. She's always been, like, very, electric compared to, like, most babies that I've seen. She was up and moving around from, like, the word go.
She's super social too. All my friends come around. She remembers everyone in the band. She even calls you out on the music videos. If our music video comes on, she'll be like, Cody. I'm like, yeah, how do you know that? Or she say Tony and call Tony Cody. It's because it's both the brown guys.
That's pretty. Yeah, I mean, she already can't tell us apart. They all look the same to her.
Yeah.
All right, what's number 2?
Number 2. I'm going to have to go with, you mentioned earlier in the episode, tattoos.
Yes.
I really enjoy tattoos. It's kind of like my therapy. Not because of the pain. I don't like the pain. They actually really hurt. I feel like the more I get, the more they...
That's what I say too, because I just got my arm done. And
yeah, I just saw that. I saw you post. What is that?
It's a moon. Like I got a moon and some stars. But
that's cool, dog. I got a moon too.
Oh, almost in the same spot. Yours is more inland. That fucking hurts.
Towards the armpit.
But I said that too. I'm like, I like getting them done. I don't really enjoy the pain, but I love them when all told.
Yeah. Well, my advice too to people that want to get a lot of tattoos is just enjoy the arms, or wherever you like start, because I feel like you think everything's going to be easier, but just the more you get, I have this theory that the body like it recognizes the pain that's about to happen. So I feel like the more you get, or maybe it's just the older you get, the more it hurts. So like you get the arms and you're like, yeah, that's nice. Start moving to other spots like the stomach, the chest, and the back, the legs, and you think it's gonna get better, and it really doesn't. They just all hurt, especially if you're doing big pieces.
Damn. Not much to look forward to because I'm gonna keep going, but
Yeah. Well, good luck, brother, on that quest. I would do numbing creams, but I've had artists talk me out of it.
No numbing cream. I think it's part of it. I think the pain's part of it.
It is. And I was actually watching, especially on Instagram, a lot of reels lately where people are just getting, blacked out pieces is one thing, but they're just getting complete body blasted and they're being completely put under while they do it, though. Like they're getting their veneers done while they're getting their whole body blasted.
Fuck.
They're getting their freaking taint tattooed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's cheating.
That's...
Because that taint's going to hurt, You got to get through it.
All right. Well, take us home. What's number 3?
Number 3, I'm going to go with food.
Food.
Sushi.
Seafood
in general, but sushi specifically.
Anything that can kill me.
Anything that could cause tapeworms.
And I'm allergic to shellfish, so I can't. You guys fucking cleaned up on the sushi section? It was it fries? One of the studio sessions we had, you and Tony ate like a fucking 5 pounds of sushi from Fries.
Yeah, Fries. No, or is that stuff we had delivered or the stuff we picked up?
No. It was the grocery store stuff.
Oh yeah, it was definitely Fries sushi.
Yeah,
which is hit or miss. It's better than Safeway sushi.
Yeah, fuck Safeway.
But yeah, Fries at least got that little sushi deli. Yeah, man, that's some people do drugs, some people blow all their money on alcohol, which I do some of that. But sushi, that's my downfall. Freaking $150 meals down in the valley every time we go.
Right. All right, dude. Well, it was a pleasure being able to have you on here finally. I'm sure I'll have you on here. There's a lot of shit we didn't get to that I want to get to. So I'm sure
that's all right. We got a lot of stuff coming up too that I want to cover. I feel like there's a lot of music we got releasing. There's a little mini tour with you. I feel like multiple mini tours coming up with you guys that we're going to hit that are going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah. May 3rd, May 4th, and May 5th, -32 and Fill the Band.
They conquer Arizona.
I've been calling it Homecoming, so we're going to call it Homecoming.
Homecoming. I like it.
That's right.
Are you guys playing last?
Say what?
Are you playing last?
I don't know. I guess. Well, probably not at your house.
Whoever plays last should walk out to Kanye West's Homecoming.
Topical. Yeah, I like it. All right, dude. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. Love sitting here talking to you about Dumb and Dumber, which I could go for hours about Dumb and Dumber.
I know. Well, we should do a commentary. Actually, you should have an episode where we do a commentary of that movie.
Yeah, watch the whole thing.
Because there's so much to talk about. Every scene,
beginning to end. All right, dude. Well, you already gave me permission, so we're gonna play us out with "The Wayside" by Fill the Band. Don't forget to follow Ian on Instagram. It's just at Ian Dupeire, isn't it?
I Dupeire.
And then follow Visceral Musings Podcast at Visceral Musings Pod. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Anyway, dude, thank you, Ian. I love you. I can't wait to see you. I'll be seeing you pretty soon, less than a month.
For sure. It's going to be fun, man. I love you too. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Enjoy The Wayside by Fill the Band, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, dog.
Times I think I've lost everything, but I still wake up thinking I should take some time for my health. I just need some air to breathe. I'm slowly going back, I could strongly by the wayside, where everything seems so far away. I'm never coming home, I want the hell out of the city, I wanna be somewhere not so far away. wake up from this night's been lost and I'll